There are seasons of uncertainty and there are seasons of drought. There are seasons of famine. There are seasons of scarcity. These are things that happens with seasons, and this is the reality of life. But God is a God of all seasons. So the only difference and those that will stand out in those seasons are those that depend on the God of all seasons, and not only those that are just looking at the season by chance. Okay, so what this means is that if you're depending on the God of all seasons, He has the formula that works for every season. So when it is time for drought, He has a formula that will make you experience abundance in drought. When it's time for scarcity, He's the God of all sufficiency. He knows what to do to make you enjoy His abundance. That's why Paul said, "My God will supply all your needs according to His riches in glory." What was Paul trying to tell his people is that your economy will fail. Your government will not keep up to their promises. But my God, who doesn't lack resources, will make sure that you're fine in every season. Also, when the prophet was given an instruction to go to a certain place for the water brook to sustain him in that season, even though God sent him there at a particular season, the water brook dried. The source of the prophet was not the water brook, but the God of all seasons. So when the water brook dried, his eyes was gazed on God. When the Bible said, "I will look up to the hills from whence comes my help." So when that dried up, his help and his gaze was on God, not on the season. So people depend on certain season and they get frustrated. But those who depend on God for every season always have a way in every season. So when that dried, God told him the next thing to do. When the raven stopped providing food, God told him what to do, and God told him to go somewhere else, to go to the woman, the widow. Why? Because God has made provision somewhere else. What does that tell you? If you want to depend totally on what you think you can do in certain seasons, you will suffer for it, because there are seasons that come with certain circumstances. But if you depend on God that is in charge of all seasons and as a God of all seasons, He will take care of you in every season. So the prophet was looking up to God, not on the season. What does this mean? If you're holding on to a season that has kept you on a standstill, why you still depend on the season instead of the God of all season?